Welcome, guys, to the new 26 Harmony Kingdom for this week. And I'm happy to report, as confirmed by Equestria Daily, that we will be doing all of this again next year. Yes, Season 7 is a go. And as for this show, it will be entitled New 26 7th Heaven. So look for that next season. But as for this week's episode, Where the Apple Lies, it's a flashback episode of sorts with AJ, talking about her worst bout of lying. Yes, the element of honesty wasn't always so honest. At one point in her life, God knows we have honesty problems in just about everything nowadays. And some people don't value being honest. Just ask every politician ever. But there are two kinds of lies in the world. There are good lies and then there are bad lies. The lie at the start of this episode, though, is a good one, actually. Trying to get out of a deal made between AppleJack and Filthy Rich. What proceeds out of that good lie, though, is a bunch of bad ones. And it snowballs into so many outlandish and stupid lies that you would need a lie counter. I mean, Applejack lies more in this episode than, well, I wouldn't say the entire series, because her honest type is drilled into her head, but she lies more than any politician possibly ever in a span of just mere seconds. But you see, the one negative is not the snowballing of lies that this episode undertakes. No, that's not the problem. Nor is the animation a problem either. And nor is the double moral of nobody's perfect, and it takes time to figure out who you are due to those imperfections, and that little white lies, if not kept in check, can snowball. And of course, learning to listen. So literally, this is a triple combo of morals. Three pretty darn good solid morals if you have kids to raise, and to keep in mind in general. The morals are super strong here. But a lot of the jokes that are given in this episode aren't really good ones. They're face palm worthy, especially near the back end with, you'll know the scene when you see it, but I'll just simply quote the nostalgia critic when I say, for kids. Upon other numerous bad jokes, but worst part of it is that this is supposed to be an Applejack episode. But you wouldn't know it because Peter Yoon's Big Mac steals the entire episode. Why? Because for the first time in the entirety of the series, this guy is talking. And I don't mean Brother Hoop's social Mrs. Doubtfire talking. I mean talking. And this guy, because it's a flashback, we find out used to talk a lot. He used to talk your head off. Until this whole entire situation changed its vocal cues from full-blown conversations and sentences to yeps and nopes. Thank you, AppleJack. Thank you for being the biggest asshole on the planet. Why? Because it seems to me your brother is smarter than you are. In fact, this episode is supposed to explain how Miss Honesty herself became Miss Honesty, and trust me, it does that. But it also reaffirms just how poor and low depth the character is. That she's so simplistic, so brought in by her southern cliche. She's not even the smartest one in her family. Big Mac knew all along about the giant nightmare that the situation in this episode presents. He knew that the lies were snowballing and getting out of control, and he knew exactly how to fix it. He, like Granny Smith as well, did not help AppleJack in trying to protect the business right offhand and trying to protect the situation. They basically let her drown in her own series of lies, which totally goes against this family's notion of family support, and it's also contradicted by the fact that they give Jack's sister Applebloom in the first 3 minutes support after making a bad deal. The fact that the family's not there in this flashback is kind of poorly reflective upon Granny Smith and Big Mac. Although they're right, their lack of support means that it's not only AppleJack who is to blame here. Everyone is. There's no innocent party here. Although they make it seem like AppleJack is the only guilty party and Big Mac for not listening. It's, in truth, the entire Apple family as a whole that is guilty here of harboring the lie. Not only because they did not support AppleJack in getting an easy way out of the deal. I mean, this is pretty much cut and dry simple. Granny Smith just has to visit Filthy Rich in person, talk it out, and come to a compromise and say that the deal isn't happening and having AppleJack present to back up the deal and tell the truth and allow AppleJack to, because it was her deal, handle the problem on her own. It's instead of Granny Smith harboring the deal or Big Mac watching over her. Sometimes when you're learning the skills of business, especially if you're within a business family, you'll often find that when a young kid entrepreneur makes his first deal, he's often on his own and has to deal with the deal in person and also deal with the results with only the slight support of the family. And also, I have to say to Granny Smith, although your logic for not selling the cider early is perfectly sound given previous episodes in which the cider has been used, you're missing out on a perfectly good business opportunity as well. That's the entire fault of this episode. Applejack's original idea and original lie are good ones. How the family reacts to both of these things are the inherent negatives here. Although the moral is strong, that's the only thing that just about holds up in this episode. And some of the origins of one of My Little Ponies frequently asked questions is nice, and Big Mac's vocal performance is well welcomed and thanked. But this should be unequivocal evidence that Applejack is a one-dimensional, shallow character that really, and I mean really, needs to be revisited. And this episode isn't proof of that. I don't know what will. More episodes next year? It just shows. It's like the episode title says. This is where the apple lies. And this apple, meaning Jack, lies in the shallow end. And so does this episode. A 3 out of 6. So, leave down in the comment section below your thoughts on where the apple lies. And we'll see you next week for Top Vault. As I close this episode, I know that this episode, as well as the other 3, have been released early in the UK. However, I here at Code Equestria have made an executive decision not to review them early. So you will get Top Vault and To Where and Back Again in their proper US air dates. And as always, with 2-part finales, both parts will be done as one video. So keep that in mind. So with that said, I'll see you next week. Find peace in your own nirvana, and thanks for watching the New 26.